What's good, y'all? It's your boy Minta Insults here to show you guys how to get your very first castle at Clan Tier 2 in Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. Now, typically you're going to be getting your first castle at Clan Tier 3 as a vassal of another kingdom, or Clan Tier 4 once you start your own kingdom. So it's going to be real nice to get your own castle early on. It's going to allow you to start stashing your troops there, start stashing your items, weapons, armor, whatever it is. It's going to allow you to have more control over your immediate party in the early game. Now, this video is going to be a bit of a beginner's guide or just a solid character build to get your character set up as soon as possible, ASAP, and a bit of a look into a strategy or exploit, if you will, that I developed for you to try in your next campaign, perhaps. And keep in mind, this is before Clan Tier 4. You're not going to be able to make your own kingdom like Warband. This is before anything exciting like leading armies or all-out war with other factions. This is way before all of that. This is just early game, getting your shit right, getting it popping. Anyways, let's get into this. But before we can get into the game world, we're gonna have to choose our culture and our starting skills. For my culture, I chose Britannia for the +1 militia. That'll give you some extra units in your castles, and movement speed through forests. That's gonna allow you to choose your engagements better. And in this playthrough, we're gonna be using the Britannian unique unit, which are the best archers in the game. So it'll be nice to get that same culture bonus as them when you're recruiting them. You'll recruit more units. Now we're going to start choosing our starting skills. You want to prioritize the intelligence tree and the social tree because the most important skills for this build are going to be charm and stewardship. Now, I chose medicine as it gives some solid bonuses, and keep in mind leadership is also going to be important, but you don't need any points into it until way later when you start leading armies, which is after Clan Tier 4. So if you want to put in some points into it, do it. If you don't do it. Just chill. So now you might notice we're almost completely avoiding points into combat skills. We're starting with skills that generate passive XP as you do your typical Bannerlord gameplay loop. It's good to avoid those combat skills in the early game if you don't really know what you're doing, because if you focus on combat skills, you can actually manage to lock yourself out of other skill trees if you don't manage your level ups accordingly. And plus, once you reach higher levels, you can start fleshing out those combat skills because combat skills level up quite fast. Now that we hit the game world, you're going to start getting your first few levels by fighting small bandit parties, looters, whatever. Make sure when you take their loot not to sell those weapons. You're going to be needing them to smelt into raw materials to get started on your smithing skill. Making weapons and selling them in cities or towns, whatever, just to get that money up. And as you're doing that, your first few levels, you're going to want to max out charm, steward, and for this build, smithing. Of course, smithing was recently nerfed, but you can still make decent money off of it. And I prefer it over trading because I find trading a bit slow. There's some really strong perks in that tree, and you're going to be using caravans to get the money up, and perhaps workshops as well. Because for this strategy, we're going to need at least 200,000 gold. Remember, 200,000 big ones by the time we get to Clan Tier 2. You're going to want to make sure you're not missing out on any easy quests, tournaments. Those will net you some good money and renown. With tournaments, you can even get a lucky reward, might be worth a couple thousand, 10,000 gold, very early in the game. And once you have a few high level units, about 10 or so, tier 3 maybe, you can start clearing out bandit hideouts. Those will net you some really good things. Higher tier armor, weapons maybe, legendary, who knows. So as you can see here, by level 15, I've basically put max points into all of my passive XP generators. Steward, medicine, charm, leadership, and 4 points into smithing because that's my money maker, and that's good for now. I'm able to make good money from it. At this point, I've begun putting points into bow because I'm going to use these good archers, and that's my big damage dealer is my archery. And at this point, I'm about ready to find my first castle. So now that we hit Clan Tier 2, at this point I have over 100 troops in my army, about 75% of them being archers, and this is going to be very important in our tactic as we siege down the castle. But at this point, we're looking for a weak castle somewhere, perhaps along the border between two warring factions, and if done correctly, you can swoop in and siege a castle and charge them down very quickly. So now that we're thinking of sieging a castle, we have to look at the small party siege tactic. As of now, that's what I'm calling it, the small party siege tactic. You're going to want to throw up a shield wall, have a fat stack of archers behind them, and just let your boys let loose on their archers until you whittle them down to their base units, their base peasant, militia units. And then you have your higher tier infantry run up the walls, make sure you're avoiding their siege weapons, and then you get in there, you rinse them out, and then you keep it moving. So here I am, I found a weak castle, I've waited for the perfect time to strike. I noticed that Vlandia summoned all of their armies to go siege the town of Ortisia in the background. That has given me an opening to go and siege down this poorly defended castle, so I went to the closest village, raided it to declare war on them, and then immediately canceled the raid as soon as it starts to go initiate the siege. So remember, the strategy for the siege is the small party siege tactic, right? Throw up a shield wall, some nice dudes up front, behind them, fat stack of archers, right? They're going to whittle down all the enemy troops until they're down to their weakest, most vulnerable units. Then you, alongside your high tier troops, are going to go in there and rinse out that castle. Now, you can do this as many times as you want before you start a kingdom, but as soon as you start one, be well prepared for all your neighbors to declare war on you. You don't want to lose all the land you just spent so long investing into, right? But just to recap, that's what you got to do. You go in there, crush some looters, take out some bandit parties, do some quests, smith, tournaments, workshops, caravans, everything to get the money up, not the funny up. You need 200,000 big ones as fast as possible, right? And that's just the beginning of the game, right? Because once you get your castle, then it allows you to flesh out your party even further, right? It allows you to make better decisions, level up your troops more accordingly, and just have an overall better time with the game. So here you can see I'm talking to Belgear after I just took his castle, and he's charging me 169,000 dinars to have peace with the Vlandians, and that peace entails that I get to keep the castle as well. Alright y'all, that's it for me. Y'all have a good day. Make sure to like and subscribe. If there's anything you think I missed or you just want to ask some questions, hit me up in the comments. Good luck, have fun, and peace out.